Just the other day I was playing a game of Scab, which is a new game by Bill Making Stuff. Him there, my twin brother, and we were talking about other games and upcoming videos, and the subject of Scabs came up. An expansion of Turnip 28 with boats made out of fish tins, and we both agreed to do it, but Bill did it a lot quicker than I did. He's always been a bit quicker than me, for better or worse. After buying our tins, I realised that Bill may be quicker, but my tin is bigger. Take from that what you will. Wow, that tin took some cleaning. It still smells a bit like fish, but not nearly as much as it did before. So what is Scabs? Well, in Scabs, 2 to 8 players fight ship-to-ship combat, battling for survival against each other and the terrifying Scab steam pirate fleets of Swill. I've read that from a PDF. I just want to make a boat. Just gave it a good old sand there with my reciprocating mini sander thing. Amazon affiliate links for most of the things I use in this video will be in the info below. That's just the spiel, isn't it? Now this is a rudimentary build, this be. Cardboard, beads, coffee stirrers, that kind of thing. We're not going to go fancy 3D printed bits. We want anyone to be able to make this. I say we like there's a team here. No, it's very much me. It's the royal we. Where I'm incredibly royally alone. Now, using some card, I'm going to make a deck, and to add a bit of height to the deck, I'm using some cheapo Jenga blocks. They're not actual Jenga, they're from the pound shop. About £2, something like that, I don't know. Nothing's a pound anymore in the pound shop. Also, breaking out the hot glue gun for this project. Quite a lot of it is hot glue. Hot glue's great when you can hide the pieces. You don't want to use hot glue on fine details because it's a mess. I have had these packs of balsa, I think it's balsa wood, thin sheets of balsa wood for ages. I never used them, but I want the planks on this deck to be thinner than coffee stirrers. So I'm cutting these up and then roughing them up with a wire brush to make planks. Got a nice little pile of them there. I enjoy these parts, these meticulous, sort of monotonous, repetitive parts, like laying planks. These are my favourite bits. It's like popping bubble wrap, I imagine. Great for a stress relief. I said I imagine like I've never popped bubble wrap there. I can assure you I've popped plenty of bubble wrap, my friend. I've probably popped more bubble wrap than you and your family combined. Alright? Let's just say I'm the bubble wrap master. All the bubbles I've popped. I've always thought the way to get through this life is to know when and where to brag. Also, on a side note, a sign of a great narrator is someone who questions every previous line they've just said. Back to the crafting, I'm taking a drawing pin and I'm going to poke some little holes where these screws or the nails might be on the decking. Looking nice, that deck. Happy with that deck. Every time I go to a charity shop, I buy stacking cups. If I see any stacking cups, I buy them because they're great for building. I made a video making a modular terrain building thing out of these cups. You should have a look. I'll probably link it up here unless I forget. I've forgotten, haven't I? Anyway, I'm taking the right size cup, which is ruining this entire stack of stacking cups, taking out the middle one. But you know what? It's worth it. I'm sure I will keep this boat forever. I'm cutting the cup in half and sticking it at the front. It just happens to be the right curvature, the right size to sit there at the front. I'll be honest, I don't really have a plan in mind for this boat at this stage. I'm looking at this and I'm just hoping something jumps out at me, something fits, and suddenly the idea will become clear. I'm still waiting, honestly. It's not coming to me yet. I'm using my last foam sheet on this thing. I do hope it's worth it. 'Tis my last sheet. I can't afford to make any mistakes. I'm using this to make metal sheets, I suppose. I'm just covering up this mess of a boat so far with foam sheets. And once it's covered, looking terrible, might I add, then I take out some cake pop sticks and try to salvage this with a kind of deck type roof type area. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the hell this boat is supposed to be. There's no overall theme. I can't see it in my brain. It's not going to work.
Hasta lo más profundo contigo.
I had to start again, and this time I had inspiration or an idea in mind. On my walk back from the river, I noticed this building here, and it reminded me of some previous projects I've done, and I thought they turned out alright. That's my style. Trench Crusade is big at the minute. This will fit right in. By the way, this huge cathedral tank is probably the best and biggest build I've ever done, but nobody saw the video, so the link is definitely going up the top here. Back to the build at hand! I've made a small cardboard frame, and I've got this foam board that I found in a charity shop. It was £2 for about 4 sheets. I'm going to cut these into like an arrowy shape and use them to cap off the ends of what will soon be a building. And I've got plenty of these receipt rolls from work, just plastic tubes. I know I said this is going to be user friendly, anybody can make this, but you can get tubes from anywhere. I'm sure you can find some little plastic tubes. You can find an equivalent, I'm sure. And anyway, this is a guide. You do what you want to do. You want to chuck your... By the way, before you get on the keyboard there and start moaning about me littering, I did fish that boat out of the river. I just did not include it in the skit because it would have ruined it, wouldn't it? Okay, so just relax your fingers, keyboard warriors. I care about the environment, alright. A lot of what I be doing on camera is self-explanatory. A lot of this is going to be cardboard. I love, much like Wylock of Wylock's Armory, I love using card. It's easy, it's cheap.
Get over here! Get this guy! Get this guy! Wait! DR-74, get DR-14! Over here, Woodward! Get him down! Put him out, I said!
Name the film in the comments. I don't know why I included that in this edit. I just like to show you what I'm watching at the time of building. Now, to make a cathedral-esque Trench Crusade-ish build, you need lots of layers, like I've layered up the card there. You need lots of arches as well. Arches are very sort of churchy is the word. These arches were not easy to cut out. I should have done it before I'd built the thing, but I'm still winging this as I go. Now I've made these arches 2 card thicknesses deep. There's a reason for that later on. At the bottom here there's 2 bits of card depth wise. That makes no sense. You'll see what I mean later on, but we need a little bit of depth on the bottom panels. I've cut a little piece of receipt roll at an angle and stuck it to the roof here. Done it on both sides. That's just a little bit of detail that will come into play later on. Detail is the key. We want detail all over the thing. I mean, it's looking very plain at the minute, but believe me, the detail will come. But that will be after I've done the roof tiles with this thin card. I like to cut strips and then use little snips and just snip little grooves into them. Normally I like my shingles to be a bit more uneven and rough, but because this is a fancy building, they need to be pretty ordered, regimented, neat is probably the word. Using wood glue, lay them down 1 strip at a time and stagger them so they overlap as if they were real roof tiles, preventing water from getting into the building. That's how tiles work. This took a little while, but I don't mind that. I like the monotonous stuff. Gives me a chance to watch whatever it is I've got on my little TV there. Next I've got this sugar wire, which is just wire but it's straight and pretty stiff. I'm going to use this to neaten up the edges. Let's tuck it into the little corners there. It will become a sort of decorative detail as well, but just if you can cut it and put it in the gaps just to hide your messy edges. So that sneaky little trick. It is time to break out the Tower of Beads. These are all my beads, tons of them. I love collecting beads. They're cheap and you can do so much with them. And I'm going to need a lot of beads for this, especially these special flat beads. I think they're called bead caps. But I like to take these bead caps and flatten them with my thumb, with all of my strength, and trim them, cut the segments off and stick them to the roof. These bead caps are going to be used. I've got several different types of bead caps. These are going to be used all over just to give this thing lots and lots of detail. If you look at a cathedral or a church, especially the fancy ones, they're covered in detail. Floral patterns, people's faces looking all sad, and other stuff. Meanwhile, I had to take a little break to make or to help my daughter make a pyramid for school. Here she is pretending that she's built the thing when she's not, nearly destroying my expensive camera. I'm happy with the thing. The thing looks pretty darn good to me. A little too good for a 7-year-old, but she rehearsed her lines. We went over the process of how she built it, and I'm sure she recited it to a teacher when she went to school that morning. Very happy. I don't think they appreciated it. Now back to our main feature. I'm taking these little beads here and cutting them in half quite dangerously. Blunting my blade as I do it. About time I change the blade anyway, it's fine. Once these beads are halved, I'm going to place them around the chimneys. This is the bit of this project I love, is the detailing. God, I've said detail a lot this episode. This episode is brought to you by the word detail. But this is the fun bit. This is my equivalent of an adult colouring book. It's therapeutic. It just ends up looking a lot better than someone's adult colouring book. I have these plastic pipe tube things. They're part of like a Lego-y type thing. I showed them in a previous video. And I'm going to use these to make the spouts. But I want the spouts to be sort of crown shaped, a bit ornate. So I'm marking them and snipping them. And I'd like for you to pretend that the tube did not just change from green to blue. I made a mistake. That first one was a write-off, so I had to do it again. And once I've cut the spikes, bend them out slightly with pliers. I wish I'd done 8 prongs rather than 7, because it threw the symmetry off a bit, but let's ignore that. When I started making this video, it was Halloween-ish time. Now it's creeping into Christmas. And what better time than to pull out these candy canes. These are 3D sort of twisty candy cane things I've used on several projects, and I'm going to use these to make cannons on the sides of the boat. The aft or the starboard, I don't know. Oh, do I look like a bloody sailor? I look a little bit like Captain Birdseye in his youth. Using these fancy cylinder bead things, they're plastic, just to ornatify this thing, the cannons. And then to match these spouts, the pipes, I've got these little crown-shaped beads. I'm going to put those on the end. And see, something might look strange on your build, but as long as you have something else that is similar or the same, then think there's a pattern starting to develop. Things married together. Doesn't matter if there's one, then it can look out of place. If there's two, then there is a pattern going on, and it makes more sense to the brain. Unlike everything I just said. Now I've started adding beads to this, getting a pattern going all over. I'm going to do some quicker cuts now. There's no point me showing you every bead as it's placed. So as each time I cut back to this model, there'll be more beads attached. So I have these wooden Christmas bead things. I don't know what they're for. They're from the works. You always get these little wooden shaped things. I suppose it's just to make your own decorations and shiz. But I'm using this as a stained glass window type thing, but it's not a stained glass window because this thing is completely enclosed. There's no way in or out of this boat. There's a reason for it. There is a bit of lore with this boat, you lucky kids. I've got a bit of lore for this thing that will come up later on. By the way, I used a miniature base there as a window frame. I like to collect wooden boxes, wooden furniture, and I've got this little wooden square shaped box up on my shelf and I've forgotten all about it. And when I opened it up, I realised it was full of these little pipe things that are pretty great. I don't know where I got these pipes from. Probably one of the many charity shops I visit. I'm going to use these. These are going to go on the back of the boat as if there's some kind of function going on, because it is a vehicle after all. There, see, I told you, Mama didn't raise no liar. I've added these pipes on the back. A little bit of sort of engineering involved in the mystical nature of this crypty looking, cathedral-y looking thing. Nice little juxtaposition going on. And as for the rest of the space here, I've adorned it with beads, as I have the rest. Busy, busy, busy. Off camera, I made this little wooden shaped thing. This is going to be at the front. Or the bow of the ship. I'm going to attach this with a bit of hot glue, and then we've got more of a silhouette going. Need an interesting silhouette going with this thing. Now, the astute among you may have noticed I have a black fingernail. That is from spray painting. I've been doing this off camera as a little side project, my own little thing. I like to make obscure horror characters in Nomad, a bit of 3D sculpting and a bit of 3D printing, thanks to the guys at Elegoo. I don't like to bore you with these things because some people get really annoyed by these 3D prints, but I'm sculpting them. I'm 3D sculpting these things. It's not like I've just pulled them from the internet somewhere. Anyway, the first one is Tash and the Crypt Demon Knight, and the second one is from the purpley ill things from Beyond. Just a bit of fun. Just a bit of fun. These will be available to the patrons at some point. And while I'm at it, I'd just like to welcome the brand new patrons since the last video. Nick, Osteen San, Necromantic, Fizzlazino, Squatcheesy, and Julie B. I think I mispronounced a lot of those names, but thank you very much for supporting me. Welcome, welcome. The rest of the patron names will come up at the end if you'd like to help out. Patron link is below. I won't badger you with that. Right, so I've attached the new front of the boat to the bow, added a little roof bit to it, and now I need to add tiles so it marries in with the rest of it. And once I've put all the tiles on, I can add a little cap there with a bit of cardboard. More bits are added off camera, but you'll see those in a minute. Can't show you everything. Them's the rules. Anyway, I've got these little beads, these picture frame beads, they're metallic. They're supposed to be for nail art. I can't remember where I got these from, but I've been saving them for a special occasion. I flattened them out with some pliers and I use them as little sort of plaques on the front. This boat is very much crypt-like. I'm sure you've picked up on that. You get plaques on crypts. That's my logic. What better time to use them than now? Otherwise I'll just be holding on to these things forever, which tends to be the case. It's the same with these bits. These bits are used to decorate books, make books look old, and I've been holding on to these and been very precious with them, but these are great for making little sort of ornate braces, or sort of, well, I use this as like a platform support. And I've used it on the cutting them up into pieces and used them elsewhere. I'm sure you'll notice. If you look closely, you'll see them all over. It's a game. It's not really a game. If you are a regular to this channel, hello, welcome back. You may recognise this box of half spherical beads. I use this all the time for rivets and such. And the process involves the art shiv, some kind of container, and super glue. And I'm going to add rivets to this thing. But they're not necessarily rivets. I'm going to use these half spherical beads to fill in gaps, blank spaces. So use a few different sizes. Some of them will be rivets, ain't gonna lie to you, but most of them will be used to fill in blank spaces. Oh, I took a little moment there to rest my voice, catch my breath, recollect my thoughts. And there you go, there's semi-spherical half bead thingies all over this just to fill in the gaps. It looks like it looks quite nice, but it looks like a mess. Can't wait for this thing to be primed, honestly. The next step involves these plastic toothpicks all the way from China. I bought them from Amazon. I'm going to use these to make little spikes. I tried doing spikes with wooden toothpicks before, but they just snap. These things are quite flexible, so they can take a bit of a beating. Although, to be honest, although it looks good aesthetically, it's a pain in the butt having spikes all over this thing. It makes it difficult to paint, makes it difficult to handle. I've done less this time than I did last time on the other projects that were of a similar aesthetic. Looking at it now though as it spins, it does need those spikes. They do add a certain look to the thing, a certain style. It was the style at the time. It's a bit gothy, and as if this wasn't gothy enough, I'm going to add some chains. I've got some chains in my little drawer over there on the shelf. I'm going to dangle some of these chains as if they're ropes. They always have ropes on boats. I'm sure they don't need as many ropes as they have on the boats. It's like, I've got some spare ropes, just attach them to the sail. They don't need that many ropes. It's ridiculous. Rigging it's called, isn't it? I just remembered. I mean, at what point do we say that guy's just showing off his rope collection? I imagine back in the day, the olden days, people were very proud of their ropes. Look how many ropes that guy's got on his boat. What does that one do? Nothing. Anyway, I attached my chains with little loops and some beads, and then firmed them up with a bit of super glue. I've used super glue on most of the beads on this build, and the spikes and the chains, and you know what, it hardens up all the cardboard. This thing is pretty solid, thanks to all the super glue that saturated it. Now this thing wouldn't be much of a crypt or an ossuary, hint hint, if it didn't have any skulls. This Citadel skull pack is pretty much the only thing I will buy from Games Workshop these days, even though it's still quite expensive. £20 is quite a lot, and I only need the human skulls because I'm going to stack them up in these little hollows here, like the Czechoslovakian ossuaries of old. Also, sticking with the Christmas theme, I've added this little cute bell hanging from the front. Now, some of you loyal viewers may be wondering, why does it take Dan so long to get a video out? Well, the honest answer is, well, it takes a long time to make videos. And I run a sweet shop in Chatham, in Kent. Now, this is me at work. Believe me, I am busy. It doesn't look busy, but I am. Some people are worried about doxing themselves. But this is a sweet shop. Very public. Anybody can find this sweet shop, and on certain days of the week you can find me. Some YouTubers may worry about being found by their viewers. Not me. For I am prepared. If you're going to come, you better buy sweets. Well, you better get out. On a serious note, you'll most likely find my mother standing here. Remember the fish tin base? No, you didn't. Don't pretend like you did. Anyway, here it is. I've done it up. Given it a pimped the ride. It's got chains on it and studs and beads and all sorts. Ready for the building to be placed upon it. Now, I spent all my time doing those planks You're not going to see any of them by the end of this. What a waste of time that was. Hey, but it felt good at the time. Also, I primed the crypt building off camera. Sorry about that. This thing in my hand is a rudder. It's made of like an ice cream spoon thing, cardboard, beads, sugar wire, the use. I'm going to attach it and then get the entire thing primed, ready to be painted. Lovely. Whenever I paint one of these, it usually goes the same way, starting with an overbrush of gunmetal. Now, I said there was a bit of lore for this thing. Not really. There's just a bit of a theory as to what this thing is. This is the SS Ocer. And it's full of dead things. And the dead things control it. It travels around the seas, just drifting, relaxing. There's no way in, there's no way out. It's just a floating sarcophagus, basically. The thing is, this Ocer boat thingy, the SS Ocer, is covered in gold. And everybody wants it. Nobody can get it, but they try their darndest to get this boat, full of the dead, covered in gold. Not much lore at all, but there you go, that's just a little background to what this ship is. As far as I'm aware, scabs are controlled by meat inside the tins anyway, so it's not too far off that theory. I've painted this roof, different shades of sort of slate grey, brownish grey, and given it a dry brush and then a wash. And now I need to paint every single bead on this boat gold. And my God, did this take a while. Now, if you were a pillager on the high seas, tell me you wouldn't want to nab this boat. Looking all lovely and shiny there. Bit too shiny for my liking, I'll sort that out later on. First I need to paint these skulls, the usual brown. Give it sort of an overbrush of brown. I'm going to leave some of the dark recesses in there still. And then give it a lighter dry brush of cream. And then maybe a little bit of white after that. Bones are easy. Everyone and their mother can paint bones. I felt like the boat was missing something, so I decided I wanted to make urns. And to make urns, I'm using these beads here, these lovely beads. And then I add other beads that I've used for the decorating of the boat on top of those. Give them a prime and then a lovely white coat, add some gold trim. There you have it. Urns. I'll stick these in random places around the boat. Now, this isn't the finished product. This boat needs a good oil wash. It needs some other little details added, but that'll all be for the final showcase. In the meantime, I want to say a big thank you to everybody for watching. I really appreciate you. All the patrons are going to get a shout out at the end here in the lovely showcase. Please like and subscribe, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a nice Christmas, y'all.